Richards, and I'm the policy coordinator at the Delaware Center for Justice. We fully support smart justice and clean slate Delaware. When we invest in justice involved and formerly justice involved people, it makes all of our communities better and stronger.
Why should it be this hard to get a police officer's disciplinary action, like whatever that they did? I stand 100% with the Smart Justice campaign. Why? Because they're fighting for police accountability.
Hi, I'm Sarah Green, former co-chair of Safe Schools Delaware. ACLU has been such an amazing resource in our education advocacy work. Anytime we've asked, they've thrown their considerable weight into helping us get our message out.
Hi, this is Yanni Janelli from Delaware United. We're proud of what we've accomplished together with our partners from the ACLU of Delaware's Coalition of Electoral Reform. This year, we rallied hundreds of our supporters to reach out to our reps and senators to support no excuse absentee voting and automatic voter registration. We look forward to continuing our partnership with the ACLU, as there's still plenty of work to be done to repair our democracy and empower voters. Thanks for the opportunity.
My name is Donald Farrell. I'm a landlord and also a tenant rights advocate. I believe safe, healthy, sanitary housing is a human right. That's why I support Right to Counsel.
Greetings, ACLU of Delaware. I'm glad to join you for your 60th annual meeting. Your Smart Justice campaign is critical in our efforts to address mass incarceration, create a fairer and more just system, and provide second chances so that we can all thrive. A special thank you for working with me on my national clean slate legislation. And as one of the ACLU founders, Roger Baldwin, wrote, "No fight for civil liberties ever stays won." And I'm proud to stand with you in this fight.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. My name is Mike Brickner, and I'm the Executive Director of the ACLU of Delaware. And I love seeing all of the faces of our friends, our coalition partners, the people who are in it with us in this work. Tonight is our annual meeting, and it's a celebration. It's a celebration of all that we've achieved over the last year. It's talking about the future and what we hope to achieve in this next upcoming year. And it's also talking about some of the new and exciting people that we are going to be welcoming into our organization. We have a new slate of board candidates that we are very excited about. We have some amazing legislative and policy campaigns and other really, really interesting things we're going to be talking about tonight. So first, a couple of things. If you have a question or you want to engage, use the chat function if you're here on Zoom. If you're on Facebook watching live, use the comment section. We have people monitoring. They will interact with you, and we want to hear your thoughts and your feelings about the work that the ACLU of Delaware is doing. We are going to hear from our board leadership. They're going to tell you a little bit about this great new slate of candidates that we have for our board. We're also going to talk a little bit about the financial health of our organization, which is really important to make a powerful and strong organization. Then you're going to hear a bit about the actual work. So you're going to hear from experts on education equity, right to counsel and eviction proceedings, smart justice, clean slate, voting rights, and the list goes on and on. You're also going to hear from some of our other staff members talking about our development program, our legal intake program. We're going to celebrate a volunteer. And we have a very, very special announcement at the end of this that you're going to definitely want to stay on for so that you can know a little bit of really exciting new information about the ACLU. I also want to make sure to mention that tonight we are doing a raffle for a wonderful basket. It's a basket of all of the ACLU staff's favorite stuff. It's got 5 bottles of different styles of bourbon. We also have lots of coffee because we need that to give us the power in the morning to do all the work. And then a ton of ACLU Delaware swag. So it's a great way to get your pride of ACLU out there, and also to have some delicious bourbon, some delicious coffee. So if you donate on the ACLU Delaware website, $10 gets you entered in every $10 donation that you give. So if you give $50, you get 5 entries into winning that raffle. So We're hoping to get 60 supporters for our 60th anniversary to donate to the ACLU tonight, and we are already well on our way there. So do that by midnight tonight. Last thing I want to say before we kick it off to the program is you won't see some of our staff today, and I want to make sure that we have a second to recognize them. So our behind the scenes team, Morgan Keller, our communications director, Priya Hay Chatterjee, our digital communications strategist, Mitchell Patterson and Sam Zackheim, who are two of our interns, and Angela Harris, who is our operations and administrative coordinator. We couldn't do our work without you, and even though you're not going to hear directly from them tonight, they're super important parts of our team, and we love them. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy Epler, the ACLU of Delaware board president. Take it away, Kathy.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see everyone either by Zoom, Facebook, or on our ACLU website. Our members and supporters are the most important part of the ACLU of Delaware. Every year is a big year for the ACLU, but the last several years were a challenge. Despite COVID, we've been busy. In fact, I think we've been busier than ever. And flexibility has always been a strength for the ACLU. We've had to pivot on issues more than once. Our ED Mike has settled in, and we have several new staff who you'll meet later. Our big win this year was our educational equity suit and the settlements. But the challenges to the ACLU of Delaware continue: equity, policing, LGBTQ rights, Roe v. Wade voting rights, and on it goes. We never know when something new is going to pop up. Our staff will give you in-depth reports on everything we've accomplished and what we're working on now. And Mike has a great surprise at the end, so stay tuned for that. A lot of you have been active in our programs, and although there are no leg hold visits this year, you've been a great help in our lobbying efforts, especially around criminal justice. We depend on you to be our voice in the community. As a board, we've begun equity and inclusion training. We're also in the beginning stages of writing a new strategic plan. And the annual Candler event is going to be a real celebration this year. Melissa, one of our new staff members, will be giving us a brief glimpse later. So save the date, October 20th. We have a lot of options for everybody. And most importantly, the board continues to provide support to the staff. We have 3 new and 1 returning board members. And here's an introduction.
Hey everyone, my name is Akila Aline. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And currently I'm a full-time doctoral student at the University of Delaware. I also work as a research associate at the Delaware Center for Translational Research. I'm most excited about getting involved with the racial justice initiatives that you guys have going on. I'm also super excited about finding more about the Smart Justice campaign and how I can get to work with some of the research that I'm doing with my doctoral studies.
I'm Kate Calperthwaite. I'm a native Delawarean. I prefer the pronouns she, her. Currently, I'm a lobbyist for the vape industry. I've taken a year off and coming back for another term. And what I like about the ACLU board is that it's an opportunity to sit with people that I don't always agree with, that I can hear really good ideas, really well thought out ideas, that I'm not operating in a vacuum. The ACLU is a big tent, that it represents and includes everyone.
Hello everyone, my name is Ronnie Baltazar Lopez. I'm 26 years old. I am a proud son of immigrants. I am the oldest brother of 2. I'm a part-time grad student, school board member, and civil servant. I'm excited to join the ACLU of Delaware with all of you to help lead the organization's vision and mission, as well as help fight for the civil liberties of all Delawareans across our state, regardless of their socioeconomic status.
Hi, my name is Carmen Morris Twyman, she, her, hers. I am a director of human resources and the Equal Employment Opportunity Officer at BlackRock. I moved to Delaware in 2018, and I live in Wilmington with my native Delawarean husband and my 3 gorgeous children. I am really excited about joining the board of ACLU Delaware. As the great A. Philip Randolph said, freedom is never given, it is won. And I'm really looking forward to working and serving alongside my fellow board members to fight and win to protect civil and human rights.
Hi guys, I'm Tom O'Brien. I'm the treasurer of the ACLU Foundation. Give you a quick update on the status of your chapter. I'm happy to report that the Delaware chapter, thanks to your generosity and your passion for the mission, is stronger than ever. I always have charts, as my fellow board members know. On the left, the blue line, you want to see that going up. That's the revenue coming in. We're in a position where despite the tough economy, despite the COVID epidemic, we actually brought in more money thanks to your generosity last year than we did in any prior year. Further, we expect this year to be our best year ever for fundraising. What that results in is us being able to spend more to bring about change in the state of Delaware. The right-hand side is how our balance sheet looks, how much assets we have. And the great news is we're really well positioned. We, again, thanks to your generosity, really have enough funds to make a lot of change in the state of Delaware. Issues like police reform, clean slate, immigration, voting rights, right to counsel, education equity, all these fantastic things. We really are in a position as a board to fully support Mike and his staff's plans, which is the exciting part of this evening, which I'm going to turn over to Mike to tell you about.
Thanks, Tom. And I just want to say how grateful I am to have board members like Kathy and Tom, and you saw the whole great new slate of board members that we have coming onto the board. We have some wonderful committed civil libertarians, and all of your support of the staff and our work just means so much. And Tom is right. The work that the ACLU does is so exciting, and it's one of the great joys of my life is that every day I can wake up and be really excited about what's going to go down at work that day, that there are so many amazing campaigns and such really inspiring work going on at our organization that, it is the clearinghouse of all civil rights and civil liberties issues. And so, we are going to continue to make waves and make change here in the state of Delaware. And I want to turn it over to the first of our staff presenters, who is Shannon Griffin. Shannon is our senior policy advocate, and Shannon has many years. I don't want to date you, Shannon, but many years of experience working on education equity here in the state. I consider her to be one of the foremost experts on education here in the state of Delaware. And so Shannon works every single day out in our communities to empower students, empower parents. And so Shannon's going to talk a little bit about the work that she's done and is going to continue to do this next upcoming year.
Wow, thanks, Mike. That's an awesome introduction. Hello, everyone joining this evening. I would like to offer our first poll question of the evening. This is an opportunity for you all to get engaged. Please feel free to put your answers in the chat. There should be a poll question and in our Facebook page. So here's the first question. According to Delaware DOE 2019-2020 Discipline Report, how many schools are required to implement corrective action plans to address desperate treatment? A, 32, B, 64, or C, 88? And we'll give you guys a minute or two to answer that. The answer will be revealed at the end. As a policy advocate, cultivating partnerships and working collaboratively across organizations and with community is essential. This past year, ACLU Delaware co-developed an education advocacy campaign with Network Delaware called Safe Schools. And SAFE stands for safe, accountable, forward, and equitable. We are community advocates, which includes parents, teachers, students, and community members dedicated to realizing true equity in public schools. We push for action and accountability from decision makers at every level. Our work is centered around 7 policy targets: all focused on students of color achieving excellent academic outcomes. First is equity in the COVID response and virtual learning, ensuring extra supports at high-need schools. Accountability for Wilmington schools, making sure that they have the same level of expectations and standards that are set in suburban schools. Equitable funding, ensuring more resources get to schools and students who need them most. Remove and replace police in schools with trauma-informed and culturally appropriate services. And 5, fair discipline improvement, erasing disparity in rates of disciplinary actions between white, Black, and brown students. And 7, redistricting plans, holding our decision makers responsible for swift and equitable solutions. And 7, relevant and culturally responsive curriculum that should be implemented in all of our schools. New members are always welcome. So to learn more and join, go to our website at safeschoolsde.org and complete the short interest form. Despite the pandemic, we worked with Seaford School District, Seaford Middle and High School, to continue to implement our Fair Discipline training series with educators and administrators. 99% of the participants strongly agreed or agreed that the training helped to examine their own thinking and practice. 99% of participants strongly agreed or agree they learned how to apply those practices to their own work and life. And 85% noted that the entire school staff would benefit from the training. I'm excited to announce that this upcoming school year, we will be expanding our training and supports to include a focus on academic equity that will provide more access to rigorous courses for middle and high school students, incorporate a student peer mediation tutoring model, and work with families and students to develop and implement an advocacy plan focused on directing opportunity funding that will be given to schools as a result of the funding settlement. Okay, now let's take a look at the results from the poll. All right, we have a total of 221 public schools in Delaware, including charters. Of that number, the answer is 64 are required to develop corrective action plans that address excessive and disparate treatment. To find out the complete list of schools, you can go to the Delaware Department of Education's climate page at www.k12.de.us. You enter climate in the search field, and the 2019-2020 summary report is listed at the bottom of the page. And now, next up, I would like to introduce Javon Rich, our amazing policy advocate. Take it away, Javon.
Good evening, Javon here. Thank you for that intro, Shannon. And I am going to be moderating the next poll question. So my topic tonight is on right to counsel. So this poll question is associated with that. Before the pandemic, how many eviction cases per year were filed in Delaware? And the options are 1,000, 6,000, 18,000, or 25,000. And I will share the answer at the end of my presentation. All right, so all Delawareans, regardless of their circumstances or background, should have safe and stable housing, but that's not the reality for many Delawareans. In Delaware, eviction proceedings have been unfair and imbalanced. While 86% of landlords have some representation in court, only 2% of tenants have representation. In Delaware, people of color disproportionately face the threat of being evicted, which means at the risk of leaving them without a home or unhoused. And so I always like to express, what does homelessness really entail? Because it means that you don't have a home, but it also means that you're at risk of poor physical and mental health conditions. There's risk of job loss. It's hard for people to attain a job without a home. Eviction records make it difficult for people to secure housing in the future. Evictions are also related to emotional trauma, food insecurity, academic decline, decreased life expectancy, as well as a cost of family separation, homeless youth, and children in foster care. So what is a solution to that, right? It's a multi-pronged issue, but one solution is to secure counsel for tenants in eviction proceedings, and we are on our way. Senate Bill 101 creates a right to legal counsel for eligible tenants. It also creates an eviction diversion program, prohibits landlords from evicting tenants if tenants pay their rent. And as we know, the pandemic has impacted people's lives in numerous ways, and one of them is job and wage loss, especially for communities of color. So with more people at risk for evictions, Senate Bill 101 provides additional COVID-19 specific relief for some tenants whose evictions were stayed during the pandemic. And we already have data about what this could look like here in Delaware. So in New York, 86% of tenants who had representation as a result of New York's right to counsel law were able to remain in their homes. But I would be remiss to pretend like ACLU of Delaware is doing all this work, because community makes this work happen. I'd like to acknowledge ACLU National. I mean, look, it takes ACLU Delaware and ACLU National to do this work. Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League, Community Legal Aid Society, Inc., the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Delaware Volunteer Legal Services, Inc., Housing Alliance Delaware, and many other community advocates and impacted people who have lended their voices to this issue. I'd also like to recognize Senator Townsend for championing this meaningful legislation. Senate Bill 101, which is a right to counsel legislation, is currently sitting in the Senate Finance Community. So there's still, Senate Finance Committee. So there's still opportunity for you to reach out to your legislator to advocate for this meaningful change. So back to the poll question. The answer is, before the pandemic, 18,000 eviction cases were filed per year. So I see 56% says 6,000, think bigger. And it's 18,000 evictions. So think if each family has 2 or 3 people, it could impact way more than 18,000 people. And so next, I'd like to introduce John Reynolds, who is our wrong person. I'd like to introduce Hanif Salam, who is our Delaware Campaign for Smart Justice Manager, and who's also leading our Delaware Police Accountability Now initiative.
Thank you, Javon, and I'd like to thank everybody for watching this evening. I'm so excited to be here and be a part of the great work ACLU of Delaware is doing. For those who may not know, the Smart Justice Campaign goal is to reduce the Delaware's prison population by 50% and to lower racial disparities within the criminal justice system. I have to start off by thanking all of the Smart Justice Coalition members and the Smart Justice Campaign supporters for supporting us since the very start and joining us in all of our efforts at moving forward on the Smart Justice initiatives. If you would like to stay up on things that the Smart Justice Campaign is doing, you can sign up to be on our email list, and you will receive information and updates regularly on the progress of the Smart Justice Campaign. Smart Justice Campaign started off this year with 5 priorities, but there is one that is really, we've really focused a lot of our attention on as of late, and that is police reform. Just a few months ago, the Smart Justice Campaign collaborated with other community partners, including the NAACP, Building People Power with the Delaware Fair Policing Campaign, the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League, and Network Delaware, for the purpose of combining efforts to push for a LEO board bill that would allow for police disciplinary records to be public and to allow for effective community review boards. This bill was recently introduced this week, thanks to all the hard work of our partner agencies and supporters. And I'm so thankful, but it's going to be a heavy push if we'd like to see this bill pass by June 30th. So I encourage anyone watching to please just look at follow our direct action link that's available to you. Sign a letter that'll go to your state legislator in support of this Leo Board bill so that we could push this through. I believe that this is a major key to providing transparency and accountability, which will increase trust in communities with the police departments so that we can ultimately have healthy relationships between community and police. Again, thank everybody for watching. And now you'll hear from my colleague, John Reynolds, and the amazing work he's been doing with the Clean Slate Initiative.
Hi, everybody. Really excited to be here with you all. Hanif has been doing amazing work. I'm so happy to hear everything that's going on with Smart Justice. Everything we're doing with Clean Slate Delaware is really closely tied in with that. So up to 400,000 Delawareans, as we sit here today, are currently living with a record. And the collateral consequences of records impact all of us. So 400,000 in the first and the great with the small state of Delaware is a lot of people. And so those collateral consequences that I just referenced are never part of a judge's sentence. And although they're never an official part of a document, they still have really significant impacts on people's lives and families' circumstances. Too often, records can be a life sentence to poverty as they prevent access to jobs, housing, education, and more. The Clean Slate Delaware campaign believes in true second chances and is fighting to remove these barriers to opportunity faced by so many across the state. Over the course of this year, Clean Slate Delaware has been elevating the voices of people living with a record, holding numerous public education events across the state, and organizing community leaders. Right now, Clean Slate Delaware is working to ensure 2 bills pass during this legislative session. The first is Senate Bill 111, and the second is Senate Bill 112. Senate Bill 111 automates Delaware's mandatory expungement process, removing the obstacles of time, money, and access to information that prevent, on average, 94% of eligible individuals each year from actually expunging their record. Senate Bill 112 expands eligibility for mandatory expungement by including additional low-level records and allowing people access to, fingers crossed, when Senate Bill 111 passes, to that automatic expungement process. So in the coming years, we're not done after this year. And in the coming years, Clean Slate Delaware will continue working to ensure all Delawareans have the opportunity to contribute to their families, the state, and their communities as we build back better, recovering from the difficult past year that we've all experienced. So thank you for your time. Really excited to have you here tonight and for all the support that you provide. And as a next step in filling out the puzzle of all the work that we're doing for civil liberties here in Delaware, I'm going to pass it over to Dwayne.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm thrilled to be talking to you all about our voting rights initiative at the ACLU of Delaware. First, our poll question. If given the choice, would you vote by mail, early vote, or vote in person on election day? Spoiler alert, there are no wrong answers as long as you're voting. Let us know how you plan to vote. Put your comments in the chat if you're watching us on Facebook. All right, so we are really excited about all of our voting rights work at the ACLU of Delaware, and luckily we don't have to do it alone. We are spearheading a statewide voting rights coalition. We have on this slide all of our coalition partners. You might have to zoom in on your screen because we have so many that the font had to get small. Let us know in the chat if you're a member of one of these coalition partners. And if you're not, hey, call me. Let's be partners. Let's work on our voting rights work together. The Delaware Statewide Voting Rights Coalition has prioritized expanding access to voter registration and access at the polls right here in the state of Delaware. We're really excited to be working with our coalition partners and working on some really great legislation that is moving forward to make it easier and more accessible for Delawareans to cast their ballot and exercise their right to vote. On that front, we've already had success. SB 5 has passed both the House and the Senate. SB 5 is our automatic voter registration bill that was sponsored by Senator Kyle Evans-Gay. And it creates automatic voter registration system with the Delaware DMV to streamline the process of adding legal adult citizens to the voter rolls in the first state. This is going to be a really great resource for voters to get the services that they need from state services, and then also make sure that their voting file is up to date and current. The more folks that are registered, the more folks that can actually practice their right to vote. So we're really excited about automatic voter registration. But we're not done with SB 5. We're going to be keeping on the pressure to pass more legislation this session. The highest priority for the ACLU of Delaware and our coalition is the No Excuse Absentee Voting Constitutional Amendment, otherwise known as HB 75. As many of you know, Delaware's Constitution is extremely prescriptive on who qualifies to vote as an absentee voter. HB 75 would update Delaware's Constitution to allow our General Assembly to pass laws that allow everyone to cast their ballot by mail or early and on election day, however is most accessible and easy by their choice. We're also working on permanent vote by mail legislation to make sure that when we practice our right to vote by mail, that we have enough drop boxes that are close to where voters live, and making sure that folks learn that they have that opportunity to vote by mail. You all know that during the pandemic, we faced unprecedented times, and the General Assembly responded by allowing everyone no excuse vote by mail. We need to do that again. That needs to be a permanent fixture of Delaware voting. And so that's why HB 75 needs to pass. And after it passes, we need to make sure that we have a really thorough legislation that implements vote by mail in the state of Delaware. Finally, we're working with Representative Dorsey Walker on HB 25, which is the same-day registration bill. Right now in Delaware, we have one of the longest time periods to register in advance. Same-day registration makes it so that a voter can show up to the polls, register, and vote all at once. This is a common sense voting access legislation that's really going to help folks not have to remember an additional deadline and keep up with their registration status and the deadline or the date of election day to vote. So really excited about same-day registration and hope to see that passed by our General Assembly this session. All right, how are you all voting? Wow, lots of folks want to vote by mail, and that's why we're working so hard to make sure HB 75 gets passed, to make sure that everyone in Delaware has the right to vote by mail. But like I said in the beginning, as long as you plan to vote, there's no wrong answer here. Make sure that you have a plan. Now I'm going to kick it off to someone who's going to tell you how you can support all of the great initiatives that you've heard about tonight, our Development Director, Melissa Bryson.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa, and I am just filled with pride for my coworkers. And what you just got a taste of is really what I get to hear every single week at our staff meetings when everyone reports out about the amazing work they're doing. And I just could not express how much pride I have for them. So you'll see on your screen a poll question. So if you are joining us through Zoom, please answer that question. If you're joining us through Facebook, please chat your response. And my question for you tonight is, what inspires you most to give to the ACLU of Delaware? Your options for this are criminal justice reform, LGBTQIA+ rights and gender equity, education equity and students' rights, voting rights, free speech, immigrant rights, housing justice, or other, if you have something else that inspires you most. You know, the topics that we cover as the ACLU are vast, and the ways that you all support us as donors, as activists are also vast. So I just want to say thank you for everyone who gives to us in the way that makes sense for you to give. Whether you give a one-time gift every year, whether you're a monthly gift that you give and support us, sustain us every month, whether you give to our Candler celebration, which Kathy mentioned earlier, a wonderful celebration of everything we do. We appreciate you and we thank you for helping us to make sure that everything that you just heard can keep happening. I'm going to say it 1,000 more times. This staff is amazing and what they do is amazing. And when you give, you enable us to do that amazing work. So running down the list and seeing, all right, so criminal justice reform, we're hyped. So great. So shout out to the folks. Yes, and you shout out to our folks who do our criminal justice reform work. It's just amazing. We are making great strides. Our funders see us making great strides and they are ecstatic about the work we're doing. So tonight was mentioned earlier, but I don't want you to forget, we have something that you can take home if you donate in $10 increments. So $10 gets you one, $20 would get you 2 entries, $30 would get you, well, you get the point. So the more you give, the more entries you get for this incredible, you're going to be lucky if it makes that out of my house, 5 bourbons, a whole pile of amazing ACLU swag, coffee, because, we don't get this energy from nowhere. We need that coffee to keep us going, doing the work. So when you give with the link that was dropped in the chat, you're supporting our work and we want to give back to you for that. And we want to thank you for taking part in all of the work we do. And it just so happens that this fabulous basket is how we're going to do that tonight. And again, I want to just give a little preview. Candler is coming, so save the date. It'll be October 20th this year. And we're getting creative to make sure that everyone can participate in a way that feels safe for them and still is really fun. So stay tuned as we put out more information about that. And thank you for being here tonight, really. And I'm going to pass things back to Mike to keep us going.
Thank you, Melissa. And now you all understand why I wake up every morning feeling so grateful and excited to get to work, because of all of the work that you've just heard about and the amazing people that we get to work with here at the ACLU of Delaware. And Melissa is one of those people. I'm so glad that we were able to talk a little bit about development. And, Melissa has been a great fundraiser for the organization and such a great partner in making this a strong, vibrant organization. So thank you, Melissa. Another part of our work that you don't always hear about is actually our intake system, our legal intake system. So we have hundreds and hundreds of people every single year who write into our office. Sometimes they call our office, sometimes they email us, but many times it's handwritten notes, and they ask for legal assistance. And if you know anything about the ACLU, you know that we provide free legal assistance to people who have had their civil liberties violated. These are oftentimes individuals who have been hurt by the system, whether they are incarcerated or they encountered a problem at school, or they were accosted by police officers. Runs the gamut of civil liberties issues. And every single letter that we get into our office, we have someone review, because we take our responsibility seriously to help those that we are able to actually assist. And so the person who orchestrates all of our legal intake system is Suchi Iyengar, who is our Director of Legal Intake. And I'm going to kick it to her via video, where she's going to talk about one of our really amazing volunteers who we want to recognize tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Suchi via video.
Hi, I'm Suchi Iyengar, the Intake Director here at the ACLU of Delaware. Intake is where we hear issues that affect Delawareans and we try to find ways to help. You could not do this work without the thoughtful care and compassion that our volunteer, Jerry Northington, brings every day. Jerry began with the ACLU of Delaware in 2016 and has been an integral part of our organization since then. I thank him every single day for the work that he does in my heart. And now I'm so happy that we can thank him with this award today. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. I came to the ACLU Delaware in the fall of 2016. I moved to legal intake in the early part of 2017, and that's where I've been ever since. It's been a real pleasure. It's been lots of personal reward for me. I always wanted to do something by way of giving back to the world some of the reward that I've had over the course of years. I remember I hadn't been in intake too long back in 2017 when we got one of the most memorable letters I've received. A lady in southern Delaware had been told by the local township to remove the handwritten political signs that she had put in her front yard. It didn't take much investigation to discover that the township had no laws against signs of that size. The messages were not offensive under their particular laws. After a long series of interactions with the Delaware ACLU, the lady won the case. It was clearly a violation of the First Amendment. The local township just took exception to her political views. She went out and bought commercial signs to replace them in her yard. The ones that her handwritten signs didn't suffer the weather very well. So that really made my month or two. That was one of my finest memories of time down there. Volunteering through the pandemic's been interesting. At least it gave me some points of contact with the outside world. In terms of the calendar, the Tuesday staff meeting gave me a marker in the weeks, so I always knew when Tuesday was. And if I thought a little about it, I'd remember, oh, Tuesday was 2 days ago, this has got to be Thursday. Otherwise, days in my life for that year, for 18 months or so, every day was the same. The weather was a little different, and that's about all there was. My wife and I were completely isolated for months. So it was good to have some measure, any measure of outside interaction. And I look forward to continuing for a while. I didn't give any thought to how long I might stay when I first came. It's sort of amazing to look back and think it's been 4.5 years. The time has really gone by in a hurry. I do look forward to getting back in the office. The personal interactions, conversation with like-minded people, that's good for life.
And such a great photo with Jerry with his award. And we think the world of Jerry. He is such a great human being and does such amazing work. Again, he follows up with many of the folks who contact our office for legal help to learn more about their stories, to see where we might be able to assist, and just such critical work, because again, the folks who contact our office looking for legal help, again, are oftentimes in very low points in their life and just need some assistance. And so Jerry doing it as a volunteer for free because he cares about people and he cares about the ACLU is just such a wonderful thing. So we are all very grateful to work with somebody like Jerry and also Suchi. Next, I want to talk about our big announcement. Before I get to that, I do want to give another reminder. If you haven't already donated to the ACLU of Delaware, again, remember that $10 that gets you entered into our raffle. So please make sure you do that before you leave. But I know I've been teasing all night that we were going to end with a really big announcement, and I am so excited about this. So many of you know that we had an opening a few months ago for a new legal director. So a team of staff came together and we conducted a national search to find our new leader of our legal team, and I am so excited to tell you that we have selected a new legal director, Susan Burke, who is here with us tonight. I can tell you I had lunch with Susan yesterday, and she is, so I've actually met her in person, not just via Zoom, and she is just a wonderful human being, very kind, very compassionate. She has spent decades working in the law, taking on some very difficult cases that were landmark cases for this country, and fought for people who, again, had nowhere else to turn. And so I'm excited for Susan to be joining our team. We have a great team assembled, and we know that we are going to achieve new heights of greatness with Susan with us. So I wanted to turn it over to Susan to introduce herself and say a couple of words about why she's excited to come to Delaware.
Good evening, everyone. I have to say that I was just so delighted to be selected as the new legal director, and I'm just energized by listening to the presentation, seeing all of you participating through the chats, and I can't wait to get started. Unfortunately, as we all know in this country, there's so much work for us to do. My background has been in the human rights, civil rights field. Among other things, for example, I represented the detainees of Abu Ghraib and cases like that. And what has always struck me about the ACLU and why it's just my favorite organization is the consistency. We really need to know that there is always an organization willing to fight for those victimized. So I couldn't be prouder to be joining and look forward to meeting all of you in person.
Thank you so much, Susan. We are so excited, and she's going to be here in Wilmington very soon. She's going to be starting with us next week, and we are just so excited to have her here and know that there's going to be just so many new issues and so many new things that we're going to take on as an organization with you leading our legal team. So we're so excited to have you here. So I hope I didn't oversell that last announcement. It's pretty exciting. We have a tremendous legal mind on our team. And now we really feel complete as a team. We have some of the best advocates, some of the best attorneys, some of the best development and communications professionals assembled here in the first state. Again, I want to thank our behind the scenes team, Angela Harris, Morgan Keller, Priya Hay Chatterjee, Sam Zackheim, Mitchell Patterson, and Suchi Iyengar. Again, you didn't hear directly from all of them tonight, but they are so integral to our work. I want to thank our board and all of the new board members, and also our board members who are terming off. Again, we are only as strong, though, as the people who are around us. So it's our coalition, it's our supporters, it's every single one of you. And so if you have not already, again, I want to remind you, go and donate to the ACLU of Delaware. We have an invigorated organization that is ready to take on the systemic inequalities that have been going on in our country and in our state for generations. And I believe that we have an amazing, semi-magical team assembled that can really do just about anything if we put our minds to it. And so, you know, we ask that you just stand behind us in support, and that we are so excited to be leading the way here in the first state and to advance the cause for smart justice, for voting rights, for education equity, for right to counsel, and so many other issues that you didn't hear about tonight. So thank you, everybody. That concludes our annual meeting. Again, go donate, and please contact us if you're interested in volunteering, getting active with any of our coalitions. Again, we so value your support. Thank you all. Have a great night.